Danny fell out of a tree and scraped his arm. What's good for that? Polysporin antibiotic spray? Okay. Honey, Megan wrestled with the cat, and the cat won. What's good for that? Polysporin antibiotic spray? Okay.
Polysporin is the only first aid spray with antibiotic protection to kill germs and help wounds heal fast.
Hi, honey. Did you know Polysporin is good for cooking burns, too?
Polysporin, the only antibiotic first aid spray.
Okay, into the showers. Let's build body with the Pro 1-2.
1. Shampoo in, body in, fullness in.
Pro Body. 2. Pro Protein-Enriched Conditioner.
Conditioner in, protein in, condition in, control in.
That's Pro Body.
Full body shampoo.
And Pro Conditioner. It's my bodybuilding system for hair.
Baby Ruth, Butterfinger, tear into them, just take a bite. Get the taste that feels so right. Baby Ruth, Butterfinger, tear into them, which do you choose? Both so great, you just get
Chewy, nutty Baby Ruth, crispy, crunchy, peanut buttery Butterfinger with their great rich taste.
tear into them now, Nabisco.
It's the JCPenney back to school sale. Cause when you gotta go to school, you gotta go. So go in style to the head of the class. In sweater vests, that's 25% off. Super cords that really measure up. The point is, you gotta look sharp. And you gotta have these sneaks that pass the test. So hurry up and don't be slow. Cause when you gotta go to school, you gotta go. Smarter than ever, JCPenney.
Quick, write this down. Good Health, Pueblo, Colorado, 81009. Now you can send for a free packet of government health information on diet, exercise, and more. Do it now.
East meets West with a fun new way to enjoy McDonald's Chicken McNuggets. It's Chicken McNuggets Shanghai. Now you get plump, tender chunks of chicken with 3 totally new Oriental sauces. Cantonese sweet and sour, teriyaki, hot mustard, plus chopsticks, and a McFortune cookie. Taste the Orient at McDonald's. Pick up Chicken McNuggets Shanghai, or try to. But chop chop, the offer ends soon.
I'm up to my ears in softness. You can be too with me. Snuggle fabric softener. Snuggly softness that's really less expensive. With me, clothes feel so soft. Smell, color fresh. And they're static free. Socks don't stick, clothes don't cling. For a wash that snuggly softness can be, try me.
Snuggle fabric softener. Snuggly softness that's really less expensive.
Hold on there.
Oh, come on, Dad. The guys are waiting.
So's that lawn.
I'll do it later.
You promise?
Promise.
You live with a busy 10-year-old, you learn to compromise. But not here. We make sure the orange juice is Minute Maid. Not just because it always tastes great. It actually has more vitamin C than most other chilled orange juices. I figure a growing lawn can wait. A growing body can't.
For all the vitamin C you need, make it Minute Maid.
Enjoy extra sugar-free gum.
You get extra flavor, extra fun. Get extra sugar-free gum.
Extra, the only leading sugar-free gum with NutraSweet, gives you extra refreshing flavor that lasts an extra, extra, extra long time.
Extra flavor for that extra long play. Extra flavor for that extra long day. When you chew it extra, the extra fresh flavor lasts an extra, extra, extra long time.
Extra lasts extra long.
It's too hot and too early to sleep.
The neighbor's dog won't quit barking. You've got the rerun blues. So you might as well turn to
CBS, because you're not going to believe it. Bob Barker and The Price is Right will spin and flash those primetime blues away Thursday nights.
He's an exceptional hero.
You don't measure a person by their height. It's the size of their heart that really matters.
They call him the Wizard. He's a toy maker and something more.
He's also the inventive genius of our time.
Whose technical wizardry proves
Anything can happen.
share the spirit of adventure. The Wizard, coming soon to CBS.
Wonderful. Marvelous.
This is CBS. Premiering Saturday, August 16th, an all-new twist to the news. 30 Minutes with host Mary Grady.
We'll look at how rescue teams...
30 Minutes offers a unique look into the files of KOTV Channel 6 News and another look at the events, issues, and people who made headlines in Oklahoma.
Never give up.
30 Minutes with Mary Grady, premiering Saturday evening at 5, followed by the CBS Evening News at 5:30, exclusively on KOTV Channel 6.
That hurt at all?
No,
not at all.
Pizza's a real single man's delicacy because you can call up, pick it up on your way home. There's no commitment. Take it home and eat it in your underwear. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that, does it, guys?
During August, when you come to Pizza Hut for delicious pizza, you can also get a coupon worth 10% off your next Anthony's credit card purchase. And it's just in time for back to school from Anthony's and Pizza Hut. State law prohibits availability at Kansas Pizza Hut restaurants.
Glenpool phone dispute at 10.
all over America, you'll find kids playing with things, in things that came from Kmart, where more people, parents included, shop than any other store. For summer things like Tonka toys and McGregor shoes. And, of course, when it's time for things for back to school,
America's favorite store.
Kmart, the saving place.
Hamburger places may be good at making hamburgers, but when they try to make chicken, it doesn't always fly. That's why I count on the chicken experts, Kentucky Fried Chicken. The Colonel's secret recipe makes their chicken tender, juicy, and downright delicious.
Bingo, lickin' good.
At Kentucky Fried Chicken, all we do is chicken, so we do it right. Those burger places are only fooling themselves.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right.
Who has more fluoride protection than Close-Up? Nobody.
Get closer. When you're close up, that's when close up counts. Whiter teeth and a fresh mouth.
It's the nicest thing that you can do. Do it for me.
And I'll do it for you.
Get close up.
With fluoride.
Going home.
There's my old house.
Going home to yesterday.
I hope he's still here.
I'll take your hand.
Hey, Mr. B, Joey Whipper. It's Joe now. This is Joey.
Hey, how you doing? You still got those popsicle ice pops? A genuine article. Cherry, right?
Going home. Going home.
Me and Luchansky must have had 1,000 of these sitting right here.
Going home.
You having a good time?
Yeah. Memories begin with genuine popsicle, fudgesicle, and creamsicle brand pops.
It was fun.
When the agency called us, how could I say no?
Easy, no.
What's one more child to love?
We already have 2 children that I love.
Of course, I was hoping we'd get a baby.
They sent us a teenager,
So I put away the stroller.
and I hid the car keys.
How could I say no?
I just taught you that.
Loving, that's what it's all about.
And orthodontists and college tuition, and they're going to find the keys to the car.
Hey, they're a cool bunch of guys. They're in for a shock when Beverly Hills moves to their block. But that's all right, and that's okay. Better days is coming anyway. So put your hand on the TV dial. Let Better Days make you smile. This fall, have a ball on CBS. We'll show it. Don't you know it? Because we're the best. Rock.
I'm not ready to go yet, okay? I'm not ready. You gotta wait. I got shit to do. I'm in the middle of something. All right? Just hold on.
Watch your mouth or don't come in here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, people, come on, we're adults here.
You know what? What is the point?
Yeah, we're adults here. I got a fucking Burger King fucking thing on my head. We're all fucking adults here, guys. People in my chat, 2 words. What are they? 2 words. Let me see the chat flood. Let me see the chat flood. 2 words. Okay, next caller. Please. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, which translate in American to dick and balls.
I got flip-flops. These are my flip-flops. Yeah, I really like my flip-flops because I can put them on. Because look, watch me put them on. I can put them on all by myself. Watch me put them on. Look, are you watching? Look, these are my flip-flops.
Thanksgiving Day. I remember it clearly. It was Thanksgiving Day. I was inserting myself in somebody else's fucking business as a cash grab, and you know.
This channel is harsh reality. Kareniak se jodió la sucia vida. Amen.
This is Jonathan Lee Riches. I have cheeseburgers. I'm gonna put cheese on them. I'm gonna make sure that I have my hamburgers because I'm a big boy now and I can make the hamburgers. My mom lets me use the stove now.
And I'm just like, wow, I like receipts, and they brought receipts. Like they had evidence to back up everything they said. And I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be another side to this, right? Like this can't. No, this is too fantastic.
Yeah, because you're not going to just jump to the conclusion that there's a conspiracy amongst cops to cover up a murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, cops and just like soccer moms and shit. Like that's what made it even crazier. Like,
yeah, get it, Betty. Yeah,
did you have a close relationship with your mom?
Get it, Betty.
Oh, of course, I still do.
Yeah.
My older sister was kind of she was more of the prissy girl that like going
that is
and
the best shit fucking
shopping for dresses with mommy. I was the tomboy that liked playing with.
Shout out to Cherry for just being easily the most faithful and loyal supporter that I've ever had. That someone could have that tenacity with loyalty. And I'm really blessed to have someone like Cherry be part of this channel and in my life. So it means a lot. And yes, I named him after Mr. T and Rocky. Say, woman. Say, woman. Say, woman. Since your old man ain't got no heart, why don't you come down to my apartment tonight and I'll show you a real man. Oh my God, I'm so in love with this little dude. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. I love you guys very, 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 very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends. Oh, say bye. Say bye. Oh, I love you too. Give me a kiss. Oh, I love you. Bye, guys. People. How is everyone? I hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend. Man, it is a beautiful weekend here in Tennessee. I got to tell you, I've just been loving it. Absolutely fantastic. The weather right now. So yeah, man. Yesterday was just like the perfect temperature. It's a little warmer than I like it today, but it was sunny yesterday, not a cloud in the sky, nice and cool. I burned a shit ton of calories the last 2 days. Most definitely. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure. Might feel a little woozy. But it's good to hang out with you guys. It's good to see you. So today's going to be kind of a chill stream. I'm going to just kind of go over I saw people on Twitter were making this big stink over this Boston Globe article like it was some sort of game changer, as I posted on Twitter. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, here's the thing though. Now we're gonna go over it. I'm gonna read it, and but let's just go over it real quick.
The Karen Reed murder trial is scheduled to begin April 16th. Reed is accused of allegedly striking her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with her car during a blizzard and leaving him for dead. So much has been made of the contentious atmosphere marked by protest and allegations of a cover-up, but very little about the man who died. Reporter Danny McDonald spoke to those who knew Officer O'Keefe and joins us today. Danny, who was Officer John O'Keefe?
Well, those who knew him describe him as a devoted family man, a loyal friend, and someone who dedicated his professional life to serving the public. He was a Boston police officer for more than 15 years. Nearly everyone I spoke to pointed to the instance where he took guardianship of his sister's 2 children after she and her husband died within a few months of each other in 2013, 2014, stepping up and, becoming their guardian as a great testament to who he was and his character.
What about his fellow officers? What did they say about John O'Keefe?
Yeah, he seems to be a beloved member of the department. One Boston police officer I spoke with described him as, the sort of cop who, even when he's off duty and out of uniform, he had the air of a Boston police officer that, he used to rib John O'Keefe about that. People who knew him said he always wanted to be a cop. That was his life's dream. And yeah, that was his professional dedication.
Here you have a description of a stand-up man, both professionally and personally. What then are his friends, did they convey to you about the whole atmosphere surrounding this investigation?
Yeah, I think there's a frustration level for John O'Keefe's loved ones. I think there's a feeling that given the circus atmosphere around the case, and it is a circus, there's protesters at every hearing outside the courthouse. There's a truck carrying messages related to the case that circles the courthouse. They feel like all of that has taken away from the fact that a man lost his life, a man they say is a good man. Lost his life. So I think there is some frustration given that atmosphere.
Danny, you've been doing this for a long time. You have been a reporter. Have you ever seen anything like this?
The short answer is no. There's a cadre of John O'Keefe relatives and friends that show up to every hearing. And they have to walk through a gauntlet of protesters, and there's been confrontations between some of John O'Keefe's loved ones and some of the protesters. Some of the protesters have said things that have upset the family. I think that, the loved ones of John O'Keefe and the people who knew him again, are frustrated by that. They feel like that sort of behavior just breaches any sort of standard of common decency, and that's really unusual.
With the people that you've spoken to that were close to Officer O'Keefe, what do they want to see happen in this case?
Well, I think they want justice, to put it plainly. I think they want justice, and I think they'd also like to see a better level of respect, given that, they're still grieving. So I think they want to be left alone by the protesters, and obviously justice is the overarching thing.
Reporter Danny McDonald, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Shagun.
For daily access to Boston Globe Today, all segments and episodes are available on demand in the Boston Globe app by clicking watch.
Shut up. Okay, so now there's a lot to unpack there. So, this Tom McDonald guy, it feels like he has an agenda. I'll explain why. Before I get into that, let me go ahead and read the article. And I know many of you have read it, and I know Turtle Boy, I think, read it. I watched his live this morning. So it's headlined, "A Courthouse Circus Surrounds His Alleged Killer, but John O'Keefe's loved ones are focused on remembering a good man." Braintree, by any measure, a few months that straddled 2013 and 2014 were a difficult and life-changing stretch for John O'Keefe. His sister, Kristen, died from an aggressive form of brain cancer just months after her diagnosis. 8 days later, his partner and best friend at Boston Police, Pat Rogers, took his own life. Months after that, Kristen's husband, Stephen, died unexpectedly from a heart attack. But it was John O'Keefe's response to such dark times that those who knew him say is a lasting testament to his character. He jumped to become the guardian of his niece, Kaylee, then 6, and his nephew, Patrick, then 3, morphing into a suburban dad practically overnight helping with homework, driving to and from softball practice. He was a good man, said John Jackson, a close friend of O'Keefe's from college. O'Keefe's life was cut short, prosecutors say, when his girlfriend at the time allegedly ran him over and left him for dead in Canton during a blizzard in 2022 after a night of heavy drinking. The court case has attracted national attention, and some fear that the memory of who O'Keefe has been lost amid the circus atmosphere that for months has pervaded the Dedham courthouse, where the trial will begin April 16th for his alleged killer. Karen Reed, gaggles of protesters, egged on by social media and blogger-fueled allegations of a cover-up. Media blogger-fueled allegations of a cover-up. Funny. They have waved placards and that railed against police and prosecution, at times even booing and shouting at O'Keefe's parents, friends, and brother in what loved ones view as a stunning breach of common decency. Oh, my bad. Several of O'Keefe's friends and family members told the Globe that spectacle has detracted from the real shame of the case: the loss of a loving uncle, a loyal and generous friend, and a dedicated police officer. Reed has pleaded not guilty to charges of second-degree murder, motor vehicle homicide by negligent operation, and leaving the scene of an accident causing personal injury and death. She contends she is the innocent victim of a cover-up by Canton police and local prosecutors seeking to pin O'Keefe's death on her and protect the true killer or killers, a charge the Norfolk District Attorney denies. Reed remains free on bail. So So it's not just the Canton police, it's also the Massachusetts State Police. Just for the record there, Mr. Tom McDonald. Privately, O'Keefe's loved ones are convinced Reed is responsible for his death. Privately, okay. No one planted anything in our heads, said his brother Paul O'Keefe. No one brainwashed us. They say Reed facing consequences for John O'Keefe's death would provide some modicum of justice. Paul O'Keefe hinted there was some friction between his brother and Reed in the weeks leading up to his death. He had considered hanging out with the couple on New Year's Eve, he said, but opted not to because Reed and his brother were bickering. He still kicks himself for not seeing more of John in the weeks preceding his death, he said. So, as I understand it, weren't they in Aruba New Year's Eve? So was he going to go to Aruba? But Brendan Kane, who grew up with O'Keefe on the same street in Braintree, said he and his wife attended a Bruins game with Reed and O'Keefe 3 weeks prior to his death. She put on a good show, he said. We liked her. The case has rocked Canton, a suburb of 24,000 plus residents south of Boston, where O'Keefe was living at the time of his death and where his parents now take care of Kaylee and Patrick. The furor cannot change a cold reality. O'Keefe is dead. It's finality. It's a finality that his family and friends still wrestle with. Paul O'Keefe, who attends every court hearing with his parents, said he still reaches for his phone to text his older brother. Most recently, it was when legendary Alabama football coach Nick Saban retired. Both O'Keefes had grown up fans of the Crimson Tide and wanted to tell John the news. I still don't think it's fully processed, he said. Paul O'Keefe said that his brother's catchphrase was, "It's only a movie." It's etched onto John's headstone and was his brother's way of trying to take the edge off the craziness that life throws at you, he said. Several friends held up John O'Keefe's reaction to his sister's death as proof of his priorities. O'Keefe was living the life of a bachelor in Dorchester at the time, but moved to Canton and adjusted his work schedule to care for the children, cutting down on extra hours and switching to a more administrative role. And a 9 to 5-ish shift to better support the children, his friend said. He did it so humbly and so matter-of-factly, added his friend Sean Coyle, a retired Boston firefighter. There was a steep learning curve to parenting, but he did it for 8 years, said Paul O'Keefe. He did a pretty bang-up job, I thought. Kane remembers him as undoubtedly one of the most generous dudes I've ever met, who would always buy the first round of drinks when out with a large group of friends. Kane and O'Keefe always excelled at whatever sports kids in the neighborhood played: wiffle ball, street hockey, basketball. Coyle and O'Keefe would rib him about being a firefighter, greeting him with, "Here comes the hero," and joking that he played pop into Coyle's firehouse to say, that is, if Coyle wasn't sleeping. Friends describe O'Keefe as a Boston sports fan, traveling to other cities to take in away games of the Red Sox, Bruins, and Patriots. He attended opening day at Fenway Park religiously. On one such occasion, Coyle shared Martin J. Walsh, the mayor of Boston, was involved in the ceremonial first pitch and wore a custom Sox jersey with the local area code 617 emblazoned on the back. Coyle made an offhand comment to John O'Keefe that a jersey like that should be hanging in J.J. Foley's, a South End watering hole. O'Keefe was friends with Walsh's driver, a fellow Boston cop, and connected Coyle with him. Coyle eventually was able to pitch Walsh on his plans for the jersey, and the then mayor met with him and O'Keefe in his city hall office, signed and gave him the shirt, and posed for pictures with two friends. Things like that tended to happen when you were hanging out with O'Keefe and Coyle, who had the shirt framed and gave it to the bar where it now hangs. We always had a lot of laughs, said Coyle. Coyle, a former Marine, got choked up multiple times over the course of a 45-minute interview when talking about his friend. He now lives in Florida, but is staying in a Massachusetts hotel for the duration of the case. O'Keefe always wanted to be a police officer. His friends and family agreed. He liked order and rules. During a Super Bowl party at their parents' house, while O'Keefe was in the bathroom, his sister changed the lock on the microwave to see how long it would take him to notice, Jackson recalled. When he emerged from the bathroom, he didn't even break stride, walking immediately over to the appliance and make sure it read the right time. Jackson said that whenever a group of O'Keefe's friends would go out, he was typically the most responsible, and he would make note of things like where the exits were years before he became a police officer. He was made to be a cop, Jackson said. The grandfather was a Boston police officer, and John had always looked up to him, Paul O'Keefe said. O'Keefe was an auxiliary police officer in Duxbury and Falmouth before joining the Boston Police Department at the age of 29. He was assigned to stations in Hyde Park downtown in Dorchester and also worked on the sex offender unit during his 15-plus years working for the department, according to his department roster card. A fellow Boston police officer and friend used to tease O'Keefe that he was the sort of cop who looked like a cop even when he was off duty and out of uniform. You have your friends who are goofballs, who are good for a laugh, and you have your friends who are super serious. John was the perfect mix of both. The friend who did not want his name published, as he's not cleared to speak to the media, said during a recent phone interview. Jackson, who commuted with O'Keefe to Northeastern University from South Shore for 4 years during the 1990s and named him godfather to his eldest daughter, said one of the best testaments of O'Keefe's character is that multiple ex-girlfriends have shown up to the courthouse to support his family. That shows not only did he burn a bridge, but he maintained friendships, said Jackson during a recent phone interview. His brother Paul, speaking in a cafe in Braintree, recently just down the road from where his brother is buried, shared multiple anecdotes of his sibling. John driving his friends to cancer treatments, John taking in a Red Sox game when a man he had arrested months earlier came over to him to say hello, a testament to how he did his job. Paul said John staying by his sister's side when she was hospitalized with cancer, John grabbing checks for family dinner. Paul O'Keefe noted that many people say they would do anything for anyone, but far fewer people have a chance to prove that. John proved it, he said. If he loved you, he took care of you. So I think that's a beautiful article, honestly. I really do. My opinion on that, on how the article was written, honestly, I find it refreshing to hear from people who loved and cared about John O'Keefe. I think that they deserve a voice just as much as anyone else, if not most than anyone else, regardless of what they think of who's responsible. The fact is that they love this man and they miss him, and they deserve to be heard from. But the only thing that ruined that really took the piss out of that was Tom McDonald's clear agenda. He obviously had an agenda, and I get people looking at the protests and everything like that as a circus. I understand that to a certain degree, but Amy in Boston, members for 3 months. Thank you so much. At the end of the day, we all want justice for him, for John. Exactly. I completely agree. I completely agree. And thank you, Amy in Boston. So the thing though is, it takes the piss right out of it, man, when there's this clear agenda to make the people who are protesting, because what happens here is what that article did was, just because John O'Keefe has loved ones that miss and love him, it does not automatically make Karen Reed guilty of this crime. So that's the picture that's being painted. That's how that article is spinning things. He's trying to spin things as though just because John O'Keefe has loved ones and John O'Keefe has been his memory has been lost in all of this madness. Now, I wouldn't say that it's been lost, but there's definitely not been a piece like that written, and I feel that piece was necessary. The problem with it, though, as I said, was that he had to throw his agenda in there. If he would have just left it about John O'Keefe, I don't think anybody would have said anything negative about this article. But he had to take passive-aggressive jabs. And the thing is here's the thing. If you're booing, and I don't really care what you think, honestly, and I don't really care if this pisses anybody off, but if you're booing and throwing hateful remarks out at the family of a fallen police officer, regardless of what they believe happened to him, they deserve at least the minimal respect of the fact that they lost someone close to them that they respected and loved. So there's no reason to be hissing at these people. There's no reason to be throwing, now, I know that it's happened. I don't believe that Turtle Boy has directed this. I don't believe that Turtle Boy has gotten people to sneer at these people. I know I've heard Turtle Boy criticize them for buying into Karen Reed's guilt, regardless of the evidence, and willfully ignoring the obvious problem here, which is the investigation into John O'Keefe's death. The people who were cheated the most out of this were, in order, John O'Keefe, Karen Reed, and John O'Keefe's family and loved ones. And the reason why I say Karen Reed second is because she's being framed for the murder. It's because, whether or not she's being framed, she's absolutely being railroaded. This investigation was conducted in so many nefarious ways. And John O'Keefe's family should hold a higher standard for how this investigation has been conducted. If there's anyone to blame, if there's anyone to blame if John O'Keefe doesn't have justice, it's the Canton Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police and the Norfolk County DA's office. That's who is to blame. Because the problem is even if Karen Reed did it, there's no way to fucking prove it. The only reason there's no way to fucking prove it, if she did it, is because the Norfolk County DA's office conducted and directed a fucking faulty, shitty investigation. No, I'm not saying anybody. I'm saying I've heard it happen, but it doesn't. I'm saying if you're one of these people who have done this, it's a shitty thing to do. And you're making all of the protesters look bad. You're giving the whole protest a bad look. If you're sneering and booing at John O'Keefe's family. You just are. There's no other way around that. And I think it's so important to be out there and protesting. It wouldn't be a circus if you didn't have idiots like fucking Grant out there doing what he's doing, spouting out insane things. You wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, as long as you don't have anybody sneering at the family members, and you have and everybody is just out there just simply exercising their First Amendment right, being seen, making sure people know what they're out there for. You're getting the message out there, and it's incredibly powerful. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, and we're going to discuss this a little further, but because I know Turtle Boy's already brainstorming. I know Paul and Dana and Tracy, everybody's brainstorming on how to still be able to protest. I mean, as long as you're not, I'm of the opinion that is if you're not wearing a fucking Karen Reed shirt, or I mean, you can absolutely protest. In theory, I mean, I would do a little homework on it before you actually did it, but in theory, I would say it's perfectly safe to simply protest the fact that you have been cheated out of your First Amendment rights. Nothing saying that you can't stand on a courthouse step protesting the decision that Judge Bev made, protesting this bullshit 200-foot thing. And as long as you're not out there violating the actual court order, you know, make it fully about your First Amendment rights. Carry your flags. They can't fucking stop you from carrying a flag. They can't arrest you for carrying a flag and protesting the fact that you were stifled. So and that's what it boils down to. See, people don't understand this. This isn't a circus. This is I mean, if it is a circus, it's because of the fucking it's because of the Norfolk County DA's office, the select board. That's the circus. I mean, the fact is, man, like what my real gripe with this article is it has this weird underlying message to it all, you know, and it's almost as if it's like it implies that if you're out there supporting Karen Reed, you are you're lacking any respect for John O'Keefe, and you're not interested in justice for John O'Keefe. And it's absolutely the opposite. Unfortunately, in order to get justice for John O'Keefe, Karen Reed has to be exonerated. Because you wrote this article, Tom McDonald, with this implication attached to it that Karen Reed is absolutely guilty, and that anybody voicing their opinion on this is spinning a circus and contributing to a circus because they feel that she's innocent, when there is an overwhelming amount of evidence to indicate that there is corruption going on in this case. And the fact is this corruption spilled over into John O'Keefe's investigation. And that's who you should be mad at. You sound like somebody saying not to rock the boat. Oh, it's just a circus. Because I've seen circuses before caused by so-called protesters. I've seen that before. I've gone over that shit. I've seen that. This is not that. I have seen that many times. I have seen people with bullhorns yelling and screaming outside in a residential area, yelling and screaming, camped out, screaming that the police aren't doing their job when the police are absolutely doing their job. And people are calling the police on them, taking away resources. So, I mean, it was insane. I've seen a circus before when it comes to these protests. Protesting is not a circus. When all you have is your voice, when all you have is your voice against a bunch of guns, because let's face it, that's what that is. Guns and badges with the power to fuck up your life. Guns, badges, political titles with the power to fuck up your life. In so many different ways. In so many different ways. I mean, if you own a business, they can they could sick fucking inspectors on you and say that you're not up to code. And I mean, there's all kinds of ways that these people can fuck with your life. So knowing this and these people standing up to this is necessary. It's necessary, and doing it peacefully. Nobody's an angry mob. Nobody's out there spitting on people and throwing things, and nobody's an angry mob. Everybody's out there just expressing their grievance in a civilized manner. This is what a civilized society does. A civilized society handles things like this. This is the evolution. This is the alternative to violent war. So, I mean, and you know, you're really playing with fire, man, when you take away people's First Amendment rights so blatantly like that. You're really playing with fire. And I'm not, you know, I want to be clear. I'm not trying to, and you know, I'm not saying for anybody to do anything. I mean, you know, obviously obey the law and exercise your voice, but obey the law, you know. But man, it's infuriating, and for an article to be written like this and not acknowledge how much these people have put up with. I mean, there's no mention of Sandra Birchmore. Like, you take Annie from 10 to Life, her video on it, and I could tell you, she's been pretty neutral as far as her opinions ever since she first heard about this case, and ever since I first started talking to her about it anyway. And she's totally neutral. I think she did a great job of stating all of the significant facts that you could fit into an hour and a half podcast. You know, I thought that everything that was vital, all the vital facts were necessary. And I don't think that that's too much to have asked of the Boston Globe. I mean, it wasn't too much to ask of a professional journalist like Tom McDonald to simply address, you know, why people are out there. Uh-oh.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Scott McGinnis, thank you, buddy. The issue with the O'Keefe family is that they are enveloped within the conspirators when they come to court. Free Karen Reed wants justice for Officer O'Keefe. We are on his family's side. Truth. Right. And that's another thing. Things can be construed. Like, here's the thing, man. What you got to understand is, yeah, okay, well, it's real easy. And I think it's real fucking tacky of the McCabe's and the Alberts to be so fucking low. And I mean, that speaks volumes of them. You know, they walk in with the O'Keefe family and they know they're going to get sneered at and jeered at. And, you know, the O'Keefe family, it looks like they're getting sneered and jeered at too if they're walking in with the McAlberts. Because the thing is like, of course, people who think that think Karen Reed is innocent, believe that. I mean, where else are you going to look? If you think that that Karen Reed is innocent, there's only one other place to look, and that is inside 34 Fairview that night of the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022. So you know what I mean? Like, there's only one other place to look. And when there's people, the O'Keefes are walking into the courthouse with the very people who are making these people feel like there's something seriously wrong because they have lied. They have lied in their statements. These people are liars. The Alberts, the Proctors, the McCabe's, they're fucking liars. So, I mean, when you have these people walking in with the very people who logic would dictate at least know something about John O'Keefe's death. But here are these witnesses. They're walking in with witnesses whose stories don't make sense, right? Whose stories just don't add up and they don't make sense. And then you've got Jennifer McCabe with this 227 Google search. She's walking in with these people. So it's just like, man, you know, like, they're going to be in the crossfire, and it sucks. And I don't think it's okay, because honestly, I feel like the decent thing to do is, if the O'Keefes are walking in with the McAlberts, anybody who you know fucking lied, if they're walking in with them, then don't say shit. That's what I would do. I just wouldn't say shit. But I would acknowledge the fact of how cowardly it is for these very suspicious people to be hiding under the protection of walking in under the with the O'Keefes, when obviously it's going to be frowned upon to say anything negative in their direction. You know what I mean? So how fucking cowardly is that? Why wouldn't they step up and just be like, hey, listen, with all this craziness, listen, I'll meet you inside. We'll find a spot inside. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't the McCabe's just be like, listen, things are crazy. We don't have to walk in together. I'll meet you inside. You know, until this is over, whatever, this is just how it's going to be. You're going to have these people that are going to be yelling and screaming that we're killers. I'll meet you inside. That's all you got to do. Why are you hiding? Like, why are you using the O'Keefes as a shield as you walk into the courthouse? That's how I'm looking at that. Because, like I said, the noble thing to do would just be like, listen, not worth it. You know what I mean? We don't have to walk in together. Right. That's what I'm saying, Robin G. I mean, it's pretty apparent. You got to look at the character actions, man. You got to look at the character actions. You've got Lizzie Proctor calling people's jobs, trying to get people fired. You got Chris Albert calling Mello to get the Canton 9 charged. You know, you've got Jennifer McCabe talking to fucking Krusty Panties and consorting with each other to fucking railroad Turtle Boy because they hate him so much. God, I mean, it's fine, dude. Like, if you fucking dislike somebody, you dislike them, fine. But you know what? It says a lot when you are not the bigger person and you're trying to come off like you are, and you're not the bigger person, and then you go and do some dirty shit behind the scenes to try to railroad somebody who you are trying to create and paint the picture is the villain. But when you victimize the villain, well, guess what? That makes you the fucking villain. So I'm just saying, how do you expect me to sit there and defend people like the McAlberts who are innocent victims in this whole thing being falsely accused? Well, they're not acting like they are. Why aren't they? Why won't they conduct any interviews? Why won't they discuss anything? Why hasn't none of them even gone on Krusty Panty's YouTube channel? You know what I mean? Just to be like, listen, we need to clear some shit up. Why are they so hush-hush? Why aren't they rushing to every single opportunity to get John O'Keefe justice? Why are they filing motions to where they don't have to testify as witnesses? Jen McCabe was John O'Keefe's friend. Why wouldn't she rush to the opportunity to try to help her friend? Everything that she seems to do seems extremely self-serving. You know, like someone trying to protect themselves from the law. Someone who thinks, well, don't say shit, they ain't got shit. That's the behavior vibe I'm getting from all of these people. What's up, Dave? Making law simple in the house. I mean, you know, don't put me in a position to where like you're trying to make me out to be the bad guy because I haven't said. When has any of these people talked to the press? Any of these loved ones of John O'Keefe? This is the first time, and I'm glad to hear it. Don't get me wrong. I found it incredibly refreshing. I loved hearing from people who love John O'Keefe and sharing these wonderful memories about him. It was refreshing. It gave me a whole new rejuvenation. The problem with it is that there were these subtle, not so subtle little jabs at the idea that Karen Reed is innocent. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat.
Luna's mom, thank you so much. Boston police officer John O'Keefe may never have justice due to the abysmal excuse of investigation. Both sides should be pissed at Massachusetts State Police. I agree. That's my point. It's like the issue here is with the investigation. Like, are you so blindly like loyal to the badge that it's like, you know, even your loved one, you don't want to get justice for him because it was is there some unwritten rule that like if two cops go at it and one of them ends up dead, then everybody just shuts the fuck up and just lets it be and lets some innocent person take the fall for it? Hey, it's what it is. What is that shit? That makes no sense. Oh my God. Peggy gifted 20 memberships. Holy cow. I'm not going to read them off, but Jesus. Peggy. Congrats, guys. And thank you so much, Peggy. So, man. I mean, I'm getting that vibe because you know what it did? It made me feel like they used the memory of John O'Keefe to peddle and soften. It was a fucking manipulation tactic. That's what pisses me off about it. It wasn't genuine. It wasn't a genuine reach to give people who love John O'Keefe a voice. It was it was designed to soften the blow. It was puff. That's all it was. It was like, okay, well, let me get John O'Keefe's loved ones to speak up so that it sells my agenda that these protests are nothing but a circus and Karen Reed is guilty. That's what the Boston Globe fucking did. I don't give a fuck what you say. That's clearly what happened. It's clearly what happened. And it's funny because like I was wondering what the fuck that was. Like I love the Twitter response because before I read it, I saw, as I had a busy day yesterday, but I checked Twitter here and there. I posted one or two things or reposted one or two things. And then I was on Twitter and I saw people talking about this Boston Globe article, like, yeah, and Grant acting like it was some fucking game changer. And I'm just like, I don't understand. And then when I finally read it, I had to post, like, I don't get the game changer thing here. I don't understand and then Grant like responded on my thread saying that because it exposes the Karen Reed PR team that I'm a part of. I mean, dude, I'm not part of any fucking PR. Dude, you don't want me on your PR team. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want me on your PR team. I'm going to say and do whatever the fuck I want. I'm going to go rogue. I'm a maverick. Okay? You don't want me on your PR team. It's just crazy. Like, why does Grant have to like create? And it's actually frustrating because when I see somebody like Grant, I see somebody who's actually a talented writer. The problem is that he doesn't, he can't differentiate fantasy from reality, or just has no interest in differentiating fantasy from reality. So he'll just make shit up. So he'll have you captivated with his words for a moment, and then he'll just fucking piss out some nonsense that is absolute and utter bullshit, and it ruins it. And it ruins his credibility. And I want, you know what I mean? When I see somebody who's got talent, I'm like, I want to root for him. It's just crazy, dude, that he's so fucking ignorant.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. I think we got a super cat. I think we got a super cat. I think we got a.
Oh my God. Sherry D, thank you so much. All of them acting guilty. Show Officer O'Keefe respect and actually get him justice. That's what I'm saying. Like, why are we, how can that not be viewed like they're trying to get him justice? Obviously, they're trying to get him justice. Obviously, all these protesters are trying to get him justice. You know what I mean? Now, I get it, because the circumstances are all fucked up, and then it just appears like nobody gives a shit about John's memory because nobody's talking to his family. And then the first guy to go out there and talk to his family uses it as just nothing but fucking lube to insert his agenda into the public. I mean, and thank you, Sherry D. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's so crazy to me, dude. And I mean, dude, a PR team. I mean, I don't know if there is a PR team, but I know I'm not fucking getting any fucking pay from it. You know what I mean? I'm not on anybody's fucking payroll. Like, dude, I am an independent YouTube creator sitting out here and voicing my opinion on the shit that I see. That's it. That's it. Case closed. The Globe gives trash receptacles a better purpose. I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and just call Boston Globe an asswipe thanks to Tom McDonald. I mean,
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we.
this is Scott McGinnis. Thank you so much. The Boston Globe once impounded motions in order to reveal to D.A. Morrissey what the feds have on him and his corrupt office, not for journalism. Yeah, so that's basically that's his next move. Is Morrissey thinks he's fucking slick, and so he's got the Boston Globe to go fucking try to get these impounded motions. So that Morrissey could see finally what they're looking at him for. And I love that shit. It's just so funny. Like every time, and then Plevin just posts these things like that's some sort of win that they filed this motion. Like Plevin is just a fucking moron. It's so fun. And thank you so much, Scott McGinnis. I appreciate you, buddy. Clever, what are you doing, dude? Stop. Go lay down, buddy. Go finish your food. Dude, go finish your food. You didn't even finish your food yesterday. So let's see what this says here. We get a couple of things we're going to go over. We're just going to kind of wing it. But here, this is my post. I'm all caught up and just read the Boston Globe article about John O'Keefe. Why are people acting like it's some sort of game changer? What am I missing? And then Turtle Boy commented, I hadn't seen this one yet. The Globe is still mad I exposed Monica Cannon, Grant, and got her taken down by the feds. Okay, I don't know about that, but because it exposes, look, there's Grant's, because it exposes Professor Karen Reed's PR team, which you clearly work for. It's insane. And I'm like, PR team, how exactly does it expose? Like, because that's what I'm thinking. I mean, that's a perfect example of Grant being one of those people who thinks that something says something when it doesn't. Like, if he says it out loud, it must be true. Like, nowhere in that article does it say anything about Karen Reed's PR team. Does it even imply that Karen Reed has a PR team? Tom McDonald didn't even imply that Karen Reed had a PR team. And then Grant sees that as an exposure of a PR team that I clearly work for. I mean, I'm flattered that you would think that people would hire me for PR, but yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. You're just not. Who is this Sin Central Mass? Nothing more than an attempt to influence the looming jury. As expected, it carries zero credibility. Look no further than the photo, and you'll see why embarrassing is putting it mildly. Boston Globe should be ashamed. And this is a good point. Look, they got the date wrong. First of all, they got his death wrong and printed it. It says February 2nd or 3rd, 2022. Like, oh, there you go. Okay. Thank you, Sarah, for posting that. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, Boston Globe doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, dude, right. You don't have editors. You don't have anybody fact checking anything. Like, that tells me everything I need to know. Like, Boston Globe is officially an ass wipe. That's exactly what it is. It is an ass wipe. It is nothing worth a shit. Like, they've lost all credibility to me. You're going to sit here and you're you realize the irony in this? Do you see the irony in this? Boston Globe, Tom McDonald. I hope you're watching. I know you're not, but I hope you are. Somebody from Boston Globe, I hope you're watching. Do you see the irony in this? That you printed this tribute to this man's life and character and how great of a man he was, and you can't even fucking get the date of his death right under his picture, under his service photograph. You can't even. All that does is tell me exactly what your agenda with this was to fluff everyone up, sit there and tickle everybody in Boston's balls, get them all comfortable so that you can, and lube them up so that you can shove this agenda of protesters protesting Karen Reed being falsely accused as a circus. And you could shove that up the public's ass. That's all that was. And you couldn't even do that right. What the fuck is it with these people who can't even, like, you can't get journalists, like, we can't get cops to do their fucking jobs right. You can't even frame a person right. And then you fucking can't even frame her in the public eye right. Dude, you can't frame her in court right. You can't frame her in the public eye right. And we're supposed to be like these conspiracy theorists that are paranoid? Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, if you're gonna fucking cover something up and try to gaslight all of us, make us look like we're fucking crazy, at least don't make stupid fucking mistakes like this. You kidding me? I mean, why would you even think that's somebody's not gonna fucking catch that? Why would you think that?
I'm retarded?
Yeah. Most likely. I mean,
well, he can't outsmart me because I'm a moron.
Yeah. I'm just blown away. I mean, if you would have came to James Jonah Jameson with this article to fucking edit,
You serious?
yeah, see, they don't make mistakes like that at the Daily Bugle, bro. Okay? Like, fix your shit. Fix your shit, Boston Globe. Seriously. Shit is crazy to me. Can't believe you fucking printed that. I can't believe you fucking printed that. Lovely tribute. John O'Keefe has been lost in all of this, and we're the ones thinking about him. died February butt fuck at fucking 2020 butt fuck. Like, dude, you guys can't even get a fucking date right. It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Hey, it's Ben Meiselas, co-founder of the Midas Touch Network, coming at you from our true crime channel. I want you to check out this latest video from defense lawyer and legal expert Rick King. You're going to want to see this.
Hey, everyone. Let's talk about the Karen Reed trial. I'm Rick King from the law firm of King Morse in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I am into this Karen Reed trial. Prosecutors have charged Karen Reed with the murder of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. They say Karen ran over John in the driveway of the home of another Boston police
I like his bow tie
officer, Brian Albert, and then left him in the snow to die. Well, lawyers for Karen Reed say this is all a cover-up. There was a fight inside the house, and that's where John O'Keefe was killed and then thrown into the snow to die outside in the driveway of Brian Albert's home. So to bring you up to speed, Karen Reed's lawyers have filed what's called a Rule 17 motion. Now, if you're anything like me, you hear these names and you're like, what is a Rule 17 motion? Well, in different jurisdictions, we call things by different names. Essentially, a Rule 17 motion is the defense asking for records from a third party. In this case, they're asking for the phone records from former chief of police, Ken Berkowitz, and he was the former chief from the Canton Police Department. They also want the phone records of Kevin Albert. Kevin Albert is the brother of Brian Albert, and he's also a Canton police officer. And finally, they're asking for the phone records from Brian Higgins, who is a special agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Now, why do they want these records, you ask? Well, remember, there's a federal investigation going on about this case. The feds are investigating the investigators of the John O'Keefe murder. And in that investigation, they've gotten more information than defense lawyers in this case have been able to get. And some of that information are the very phone records that defense lawyers have been requesting and that the prosecution has been denying. To be clear, prosecutors can't consent to third parties turning over private information. They can agree that the material is proper for the defense attorneys to review, or they can ask the witnesses to simply give the defense lawyers what they're asking for. But in this case, the prosecutors are objecting. They're saying, nothing to see here, and defense lawyers, you don't need it. Well, the defense lawyers have to show that the records they want are relevant and evidentiary. And Judge Cannone has ruled earlier that in a similar motion that the defense was on a fishing expedition. They were just fishing to try to find something, but there was nothing there. But now, that's not what it looks like when you consider the testimony in front of that federal grand jury. So let's start with the testimony of Special Agent Brian Higgins. Brian Higgins, again, works for the Bureau of ATF. And to put him into context, Special Agent Higgins was at the home of Brian Albert at that party the evening before John O'Keefe was found dead in the driveway of Brian Albert's home. Now, I'll tell you, one of those phone call exchanges between Brian Albert and Brian Higgins is very interesting to me, and I'll tell you why. So Brian Higgins had previously testified that after the party at Brian Albert's home, he went to his house, and he said he went there alone. He testified that he went to bed alone. And he testified that he put his telephone on the nightstand next to his bed and went to sleep. But here's the rub. There was a phone call at roughly 2:22 in the morning from Brian Albert calling him. And then 17 seconds later, Brian Higgins returned that call to Brian Albert. And they spoke for roughly 22 seconds. Well, the prosecutors in that case were able to determine that, hey, it wasn't like there wasn't a phone message, like he left a message associated with that call. They spoke for 22 seconds. And when confronted with this information, Higgins told the federal investigators, that must have been a butt dial.
Now, when he was first confronted, Brian Higgins first tried to claim that it had to have been a butt dial. That term butt dial is used by many of the Commonwealth's witnesses to explain the many calls between them and among them. And I've never seen a case where there have been so many butt dials, to be frank.
Higgins also testified in front of the grand jury, the federal grand jury, that he stopped communicating with Brian Albert. Sometime after the incident, he said he wasn't taking calls or texts from him. Brian Higgins testified that after he stopped communicating with Brian Albert's brother, Kevin Albert, contacted him. And according to Brian Higgins, Kevin Albert questioned him as to why he fell off the grid. He was asking him, hey, everybody else got a subpoena in this case except for you. And now you're not talking to us. So defense lawyers are hearing this, and they're putting two and two together and putting themselves in the shoes of Brian Albert. By the tone and context of this conversation, Brian Albert is clearly worried that Higgins didn't get a subpoena, and now he's not talking to him. I'm sure the defense lawyers are thinking that Brian Albert was worried that Brian Higgins was cooperating. Brian Albert probably smelled a rat. Karen Reed's attorney, David Yannetti, also wanted the records of former Canton Police Chief Kenneth Berkowitz.
See, this guy, this is okay. Let me give you guys a little context here, because I saw this guy. I still don't know his name. I think he'll say so here, but I shared the link to this stream. I think he co-hosts this channel with the guy that was at the beginning. But I think it's interesting because this guy, he was on the court, one of the court TV panels, and you could tell he had not really done a deep dive into this case, but what he did look into got his attention. And now this guy is talking about it a lot. He's done more of a deep dive, like, because he's now seen. Now, I don't think he's gotten into all the records yet. I think right now he's just intrigued by how suspicious the latest revelations by the defense have been in regards to the federal investigation, in regards to the independent federal investigation, in regards to the fact that there is an independent federal investigation, has intrigued this guy and made him look into this case and look at it with a more of an open mind, instead of just, well, the prosecution's just going to fucking, you know what I mean? They're not going to prosecute somebody, because this is the natural thing. I do this too. I assume they're not going to just prosecute someone unless they have enough evidence to actually just, it's airtight. You know, they're not going to take, it's so rare when they do this, because they're not going to risk spending the money and the resources on a trial, on an expensive trial, when they don't have anything solid. Everything, especially is when you have a defense team like Jackson and Yannetti that you're going up against, they don't have enough. It's too weak of a case. So it's mind-boggling that they're even going to trial with this. But it's not mind-boggling if you believe what the defense's motion for dismissal and disqualification said, which I absolutely do. It makes perfect sense. The explanation in there is, well, if they win, if Karen Reed, the only chance that Karen Reed is going to go to jail, and the only chance that Karen Reed, the only chance that their investigation is going to look like it was legitimate, is if Karen Reed is convicted. And the only chance they have is of Karen Reed getting convicted is going to trial. That's the only chance they have. So they are hell-bent on taking this to trial, and they are hell-bent on proving that Karen Reed is guilty. But the problem is they're not going to be able to. Not with a team like Jackson and Yannetti. It just doesn't happen with everything that they're doing. If I can see the holes in this case, and I can see the holes in the smoking gun evidence that the prosecution supposedly has, which is this taillight. The taillight is a crock of shit. The taillight is fucking worthless. There's nothing about the taillight that is worth a shit when you get the defense to cross-examine any witnesses that are on the stand in regards to the taillight. It's just that simple. Like, there's just no way. The chain of custody was fucked. Everything in regards to there's nothing that validates the taillight as evidence. So, I mean, it's a joke.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
Kristen, thank you. Thank you for the gifted membership. Sending positive vibes to all of you in the fight for truth against corruption. Thanks, the Glare, for keeping it real. Free Karen Reed, justice for Officer John O'Keefe. Thank you so much, Kristen. I appreciate that. And well said. Well said. So, yeah, man. Man, I can't get over how much that article pissed me off. Like, to minimize. That's what bothers me, is I've covered protesters, self-proclaimed protesters who are nothing but hecklers. You know, I've covered this before. So to hear real protesters with a real gripe and and a gripe that it's so important for people to express their voices against, to hear that compared, to hear that minimized like it was one of these other things that I've covered, it really is infuriating. Especially having talked to so many of these people, getting to know some of these people. Like, these are people who really believe in what they're doing. They really care. It's just really, really frustrating. Like, I could see, I mean, I'm pissed about the Boston Globe article. I can only imagine how pissed you guys are about it.
Former Chief Berkowitz had a lot of conversations, or at least communications of some sort, with both Brian Albert and Brian Higgins. And what makes him kind of suspect, this is the whole point of this thing is that lawyers for Karen Reed are saying that this was a cover-up, a conspiracy to cover up this case. And so here's what you have from Chief Berkowitz. Chief Berkowitz says that after the crime scene experts have scoured the driveway, they've processed the crime scene. And listen, from my experience as a police officer, I can tell you those crime scene workers, they're meticulous. They go through this in a grid search and they look for evidence. They try to find anything that's going to be relevant evidence in the case. Well, former Chief Berkowitz says that as he was driving by, he noticed a piece of red taillight that matched Karen Reed's SUV on that property.
Hey, look at that.
So you're telling me that after the crime scene people scoured and processed the scene, you were driving by and happened to see this red piece of taillight that happens to match Karen Reed's SUV?
There we go.
I don't know. It just kind of smells suspect to me. The defense also filed a motion with regard to the internal affairs investigation. That's the investigation of that lead investigator, Michael Proctor. He worked for the state police. And as a result of the federal investigation, they've opened up an internal affairs investigation. The defense wants to be able to look at the internal affairs records. And the state didn't object. And those records, as they become available, they're going to be provided to the defense. I actually love the state's response to all of this drama. District Attorney Lally simply responds like this. He says, this is all conjecture. It's all hyperbole. And he just dismisses it all. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's something. His references and his responses, they address the issues, but it seems like he's being intentionally vague in his oral statements in front of the court. And his vagueness and his reluctance to really address the issues that the defense is bringing forward.
Yeah, see, this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about, man.
Kind of gives the defense claims more.
He sees this shit.
Yes. Here's what we don't know. We don't know what information is actually in that federal report. We're getting pieces of it from the defense, but what they're saying is sometimes when you listen to the responses of the state, they're like, hey, that's not true when they know it. But we don't know what's actually in the state's response. We don't know what makes up the substance of their responses, and we really don't know what makes up the substance of the motions. We don't know what's factual at this point or what's being made up. What we do know is that the defense has already started putting on their case. They're creating doubt in the mind of anybody who's watching this case. Judge Cannoni is going to address these motions as well as the defense's motion to dismiss in the coming days. I can tell you, for me, I can't wait for this trial. I'll be here for it with you. As always, like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Well, I hope you liked that video, and if you liked it, please subscribe below. I'm Ben Mycelis. Thanks for watching.
All right. So, yeah, man. See, the closer we get to trial, and the thing is, folks, is we knew this was going to happen. You're going to tell me that the timing wasn't awfully convenient for when this article came out, this Boston Globe article? You're going to tell me that the timing wasn't just incredibly convenient? I mean, think about it. This happens right when Judge Cannoni makes this decision with the 200 feet. Because they know people are going to be pissed about the fact that their First Amendment rights are being violated. That's what people are mostly pissed about right now. Like, the issue at the moment, the main issue at the moment that people are pissed off about, obviously they're pissed off about the investigation. Obviously they're pissed off about Karen Reed being railroaded. They're pissed off about the cops being corrupt and but right now, what people are concentrated on is the fact that people's First Amendment rights have blatantly been robbed of them. I mean, there's no other way to put it. That's what's going on here. Judge Beverly Cannoni has cheated
the people of Massachusetts of their First Amendment rights. Tell me I'm wrong. So, and now this is just, it's so interesting that this motion was filed. And then it's so interesting that that this article comes out. I mean, you're going to tell me that the timing of this trifecta of events is just a coincidence? I don't believe in coincidence. Not when it comes to this case. I'll tell you that shit right now. When it comes to this case, there is no fucking such thing as coincidence. There are way too many coincidences. Way too many. So yeah, I I am absolutely of the opinion that the Boston Globe has an agenda here. Right. And then the female police chief who hit a man and didn't even Scott says, Will, Piggly Wiggly is gonna lay off people so you and I can go work there. I'm telling you, man, I'm underqualified for the Piggly Wiggly. Piggly Wiggly, from what I've seen here in this chat, has the best of the best. The best and the brightest at the Piggly Wiggly, I'll tell you. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to set something up here. Oh, well, I guess I can't do that. Never mind. Yeah, so my burner phone's no longer a thing. Yeah, it was totally boomerang. I guess that's it. I don't really have anything else to really talk about, guys. I wanted to go over that last video. And I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to go over. I wanted to go over my opinions on the Boston Globe article, and really, I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't think I could have explained the Boston Globe article. I think it sucks. I think it's really shitty. I thought it was really shitty of them to use the family of John O'Keefe and his friends to insert an agenda into the public ear, to push their agenda onto the public. I thought that was really tacky, really low. So, but yeah, I appreciate everybody logging in, man. I hope everybody had a wonderful week. I had a fantastic weekend. So I really appreciate everybody hanging out with me and topping off my weekend with hanging out with me. It really means a lot. So I'll probably go live again tomorrow, hopefully. I've got some things I kind of want to I got some things in the old noodle brewing. So we'll see what happens. Oh, will this be my first experience with Ratchet Madness? And this season will be great. Yeah, I don't know what Ratchet Madness is. I saw Turtle Boy doing with it yesterday. Kind of reminds me of something else. But it's pretty funny, pretty fun, pretty genius actually. And I know that I saw that I'm on the list, and I'm number 17. Let me see something here. Oh no, that's not it. No, all right, never mind. I can't find it. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and thank you for I should be hitting 25,000 subscribers soon. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. That would really help me out. Make sure to hit the like, of course. And thank you guys for all of your support. It means a lot. We do have new merch up. So if you're interested in Glare merch, we have merch available. And I appreciate all you guys, man. We're gonna hang out hopefully tomorrow. Guys, I love you, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.